Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, CokiCreative. My name is Elena, and today we are doing another speed build. This is for a Halloween collab called Simhain collab by SatiSims, and I'm really excited about it. I have a lot to say about this build because I went through like a whole roller coaster of emotions trying to do this collab specifically. Not this build, but I changed my mind three like full times on this build. So since we have time, I really tried to get this build under 30 minutes, and I did. I got it to pretty much right at 30 minutes, so I apologize. But since we're here, might as well give you a little story time. So my first idea for this collaboration was going to be like this gothic mermaid, and I had this whole backstory in mind where she was in some sort of like not grungy band, but more of like indie, but like dark indie band. Think like Florence and the Machine kinda, and she would pick up men at her like bad guys at her gigs, and she'd take them back to her place, and then she would like, you know, siren, like she would murder them. You know how sirens do. I made the sim. I actually made two of them. First one it was red details, and it just, I don't know, it was looking a little bit too like teenager to me, and I wanted her to be more like sexy, if that made any sense. So then I made another one, and she was all like gray, even her skin was gray, but her eyes were like really striking. She's beautiful. I'm gonna upload both these sims to the gallery. Have not yet. And I started building her house, and it was looking cool, but it just was not speaking to me. I didn't want to build it in Sulani either, because I didn't want this to be like a traditional mermaid. I wanted to like do a bit of a twist. I wanted it to be like more like a lake mermaid, if that makes sense, or in Brindleton Bay. So it's like darker water, not like tropical, but definitely a little bit more of that like East Coast look. So, oh my gosh. I do that, I build her, I work on the house for a while, and it was this really cool like rock house. I'm gonna finish it, so at least that's the, you know, silver lining of that. But I just got really angry. It just wasn't looking spooky enough. It wasn't fitting the vision. I was trying to go for like this ultra modern, which is something I'm not really comfortable with anyway. And I was trying to make it look like it was a part of this rock. And I mean, okay, I'll show you guys sometime, obviously. I will finish it. But it wasn't speaking to me. And the thing about like due dates, I'm a huge procrastinator. And the second like someone tells me I need to do something, my creativity kind of goes away. So whenever I do projects like this where I'm like, oh yeah, I have to build it on this day by this time, there's something in me that's like, okay, I can't do it. And I built multiple other houses within the time I was actually supposed to finish this one. Whew. So after I gave up on that, let me tell you my second idea. I went on a road trip not too long ago, and we went from where am I? Illinois over to South Carolina, and we have to go through like Virginia and a lot of Appalachian Trail, really hilly places. And there was a lot of like these kind of like abandoned farmhouses all around the roads that we were driving, and it was really creepy and gorgeous. There was even like signs where it would say like intense fog, random intense fog. We were driving, we saw this intense fog. We thought something was on fire, but it wasn't. It was a normal day. And it was just like super creepy. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do like a haunted house, like a ghost. I had this backstory. I'll make her a ghost, and it'll be super cool. I already started to build a couple weeks ago when I got back from the trip that I start a lot of builds, but I don't finish all of them. I finished about 25% of them. I have a huge folder in my like library on the game that's like WIP. I have WIP 20. Like that's how many builds I have going on at a time. Anyway, so I knew the build I want to do. I'm in CAS, and I'm like, I start building the sim, and I just envision her to be stuck in like the 50s or so, and she was going to be a ghost, and she was going to be haunting the place, but she wasn't going to really know that she was a ghost kind of thing, you know, the classic story. So as I'm making her in Cass, I saw the green skin. And one thing that was really annoying me was that a lot of other people were doing ghosts, and I didn't want to do something like everyone was doing. And if you did do a ghost, that does not mean you're not original. Trust me, you can do so many different things with ghost stories. And honestly, I don't think ghosts are played enough in The Sims. I think it's one of those things I personally don't like playing, but I wish I liked playing them more because, you know, they're fucking ghost night all the time. Sorry for swearing. But ghost night, I hate it when my Sims go on a date and it's ghost night and then all the Sims that died in the neighborhood are all there. And I'm like, okay, fine. Anyway, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll make a ghost that people want to play. No. Okay, so I see the green skin. I go another direction. I put the green skin on this sim that I was making, and I was like, looks good on her. So then I put some scars on her face, and then I made up this story. So, drum roll, here we are. Here is the updated story. So, I'll start from the beginning. So this couple, they were married, and it's the 1950s. And the wife, she really, really wanted to have a baby. So did the husband. She's family oriented. And then one day she dies. Now, I have not decided if she had the baby or if she was pregnant or if she wanted to get pregnant. That's up for you to decide. But in kind of my mind, she was trying to get pregnant. And then she died in some sort of tragic accident. Not sure what it was. Let's say car crash, because she's young. And so her husband, who is a scientist, decides to do the old Frankenstein thingamajig, and so he brings her back to life by, you know, sewing her body together. But unfortunately, she came back all crazy, and she has the insane trait or whatever, and gloomy trait, but she still has the family-oriented trait. So not only did she come back like all messed up, but she didn't really realize that she died. Like, she can't, like, she's just completely out of it, right? But she's still, you know, beautiful. Anyway, so he tried bringing her back and into society, but like classic how Frankenstein's monster story goes, couldn't really adjust, accidentally hurt people, this and that. But the husband loved her so much, he didn't want to just like nix her, you know, he didn't want to just kill her again. He already had to go through her death. So what he did was he left the house. They're 1950s, mid-century modern, 1950s, 60s. We are limited on the items that we have. So he abandons her in this house. Now she's out of it, so she doesn't even really realize he's gone. And he lets her live. Now, I don't know what year it's supposed to be. I think it's sort of present day, so maybe she lives forever. I don't really know. But she is still living in this house. She doesn't leave. It's locked from the outside, and it's abandoned, and people go by this house, and they wonder what's going on inside because they see shadows moving, they see people moving in there, or person, but no one ever goes in, and no one ever comes out. So the husband still owns it. It's in his name. He pays for it, but he obviously doesn't do any landscaping because it hurts too much. I mean, he could hire someone, but maybe he doesn't have it in his budget. I mean, dang, he's probably got another mortgage or at least rent on top of this because, yeah, maybe he visits. I don't know. So that's my story. Convenient enough, the Spark Challenge that is currently going on right now is like spooky stuff. And so I wanted to do something just as different as I could. Last year for Halloween, I did like a big Victorian, like vampire house, red interior. Speaking of the red exterior on this, I did not want to do red initially. So I just wanted to avoid doing red because I've been doing red a lot. But the red just really worked, so I ended up going with red. I wanted to do yellow at first, but it was not happening. So we went with a red exterior. And okay, now building this one, you'd think, oh, she's got her idea, she's on a roll now. No, I spent about 2 hours on it 2 days ago, and it was nighttime, and my husband was in the room, and I was liking it at first. Like, I was feeling really confident, really good about the build. And then it got to the point where right about here is where I started just I was like, I don't know how I'm feeling about this anymore. I was starting to doubt myself. I kept going. The wallpaper wasn't making me happy because we only have so many 1960s, 70s wallpaper. And so I was just like, I don't know what to do. I apologize too about how dark it is. I do add lights later. And as you can see, there is what it looks like a fireplace in the living room. I ended up taking that out, so that's why you didn't see me put it in there. I will be doing that in another build. It just was not working. It's supposed to look like a fireplace, but it's actually an alien's tombstone. So if you're ever wondering how to make one of those, I want to play around with it more. It's just, I was like, I can't spend all my time on this. Also, the house is really small, so I didn't have a lot of room in the living room to play with that. So anyway, right now it's being built in Del Sol Valley, but I change it to Oasis Springs, which makes more sense because Oasis Springs has a lot of mid-century modern houses. So does Del Sol Valley in the, like, you know, not the hills area, but I would definitely say this belongs more in Oasis Springs, but honestly, you could put it wherever you want. You could put it even in like the Star Wars world if you want to, you know, bb enable free build and place this anywhere you want. You can go ahead and do that. It's The Sims. You can do whatever you want. But let me talk to you about getting this interior right. I do like the way it turned out. There are a few things that, like, I wish that I had made the rooms a little bigger so it didn't feel so cozy. I'll use that word. But it did feel very, I even play tested it. So yes, it is functional, surprisingly. There were some things I'm like, there's no way she can get around this couch. But she did. She got around the couch. But here, I'm moving on to the backyard. I think the backyard is personally my favorite part of this build. This is the part of the build that made me want to finish. This is the next day. This is like yesterday. Yeah, yesterday I finished it. I woke up, I wanted a fresh start. I moved it to Oasis Springs and I was like, let's give this a go before I start over again. Because I legitimately was going to just be like, I'm not doing this one anymore. But when I started this backyard, I put the green pool in there because obviously, I mean, she wants a pool still, but it's gross. And side story, I used to have a pool and there was something wrong with the filter in it and it did turn that green and we shocked it multiple times. We got people to look at it, but the filter wasn't working. And we lived in a place where it wasn't really easy to get people to fix your pool. So I used that as my inspiration for this green nasty pool. Let me just quickly talk to you about some details you might be seeing around this since I spent so much time when this exterior was going on, just chit-chatting. So the exterior, I wanted it obviously to look run down. I wanted to add just like a little bit of trash here and there, not too much. Some overgrown landscaping, but I didn't want it to be like too crazy because it's dry. It's not going to overgrow too much in Oasis Springs. This grass in the backyard, I'm pretending it's AstroTurf. I wish there was something that looked a little bit more like fake grass, but AstroTurf was really popular back in this time era, and so that's why it's so green, and I wanted it to be like this drastic like green in the back. So but I wanted to have like these bushes growing through the AstroTurf, like it's breaking in a way. I did put some cracks. As you saw there, I swear there were cracks for the floor. I could not find them anywhere. I don't know why. I was like, yes, there are cracks for floor. And I looked for them everywhere. I was like, what packs? I checked all the packs. And so what I did, and I swear I might be crazy and there probably are floor cracks somewhere. So what I did was something so much more work. I took cracks from Vampires and from Jungle Adventure and I put them just in random spots, like in the driveway. I definitely wanted there to be cracks in the driveway because that's the first place that usually cracks. And I used the tool mod to put them at a negative 90-degree angle. If you put them at 90 positive, it goes the other way and it disappears. So put it at negative 90 and then it lays flat and then it does look like cracks. So I did put cracks. You'll see like in the pavement and stuff, you'll see cracks. And I added a lot of algae to the pool and I added the like bubbling thing from Get Together into the pool because it adds fog. So when you are taking like pictures in the gameplay, it looks really cool. And in the beginning of the video, you did see me put like these funky pillory things in the backyard on the deck. The like, I don't know the word, but they come with Get Together. And when I moved this to Oasis Springs, it disappeared. You know how that happens sometimes. And I forgot about it. So when you see in the screenshots, they're back. I did not realize they were gone until I was editing this video, and I was like, shoot, that was like my favorite part about the porch. So they're back. It fits perfectly. All this stuff is still there. It just has those cool, like, I don't even know. It's very retro looking. So that's what that is. And so obviously another thing I want to do when I was doing this exterior was having a lot of things on its side. Cause you know, when you have a house that's abandoned, like wind is going to knock things over. Things are just naturally going to fall over. So I want to just give it a little bit more of like a realistic look to it by literally putting things on its side. I wanted to have some vines growing up the side of it, but not too much because it is a dry area. I probably put a little too much for what it actually is. But I also, another thing I did was, like, as you can see on the deck, I added some like greenery. So in the build and around the build, you will see some greenery inside, just like it's growing through the building. I mean, it happens in real life with abandoned buildings if you're not taking care of it, and especially something that was like abandoned in the 1950s or 60s. That's a long time. So I would assume that things would grow through the house. I don't do it too much because I didn't want to like overdo it, because she still lives in there. She just is, you know, doing her own thing. She's definitely not doing any yard work. Another thing I added were like flamingos, and my favorite, I swear, I don't know why it's like my favorite, but I love the way, I'm like patting myself on the back. Oh my God. I love the way I did this. In the pool, I put like cans that are floating, or not cans, glass, because that's what they drank back then. And I put the pool floaty on its side because I wanted to pretend that it was like deflating. I just couldn't make it actually look deflated. So that was my way of making it look deflated. And also on the exterior, if there were any pots, I didn't want any of the plants to look alive. And it made me realize, like, I want dead plants. Like, we don't have many dead plants to play with except for what I use to size down. It's from not Jungle Adventures, from Vampires. And then on the front door, I put this little like no enter sign, kind of like it's abandoned. I put some graffiti around the house, like, you know, how kids would come and graffiti it. And then there is Surf Chick. I will put her stuff, you know, in the gallery and also in the description below. But the numbers I used on the outside of the house are from Surf Chick. And I think there's some numbers, so I'm very sorry I don't remember right now. But she has I'm assuming it's a she because it's Surf Chick, but they have numbers for the exterior of houses, and I really like the way that looks, and it just really fit with the exterior. And I didn't want to do it at first because I do want to upload this for the Spark Challenge, and I don't know, there's like weird rules. Like, I used gallery poses for my sim I uploaded last time, and I wish I didn't because they don't choose people that use gallery poses. But my sims never get downloads if I use gallery poses, but this time I won't. And you will see some of my sim after this. You can see her outside. She's just chilling, you know, how they do in the front yard. And I was kind of play testing throughout. And you will see glimpses of her, but I will, at the end of this video, have screenshots with her in it. And the screenshots, my goodness, I have not edited them yet, but they are so freaking cute. Like, I wanted to give her, like, you know, how she talks to herself, she's a little insane, but she's also like super stylish, you know, she's this perfect housewife. She was the perfect housewife before she unfortunately met her demise. But anyway, so the kitchen, I know we're not doing the kitchen right now, we're doing the living room, but I will be finishing the kitchen later. I just want to chat about it real fast. You know what, let's talk about the living room. We'll get to the kitchen when we get to the kitchen. The living room, I wanted to stick with a lot of lighter woods because I'm trying to use as many of the same wood tones as I want, but this is the time, this is the era where they use a lot of wood. So I did feel comfortable adding some darker woods in contrast, and I wanted to, like, if I use a light wood, I try to use a dark wood next to it, and I try not to make it you're like, what? If I'm going to use two different wood tones, I want to make sure they don't look too similar where it looks like a mistake. I want them to look like, yes, like a drastic difference. Like, yes, I know they're not the same wood types. I know this is dark wood. I know this is a light wood. I don't try to use two light woods that are like one's oranger than the other and it looks bad together. So when I do mix wood tones, I try to have all my light wood tones look all the same and all my dark wood tones look all the same. Mix those two together, if that makes sense. It's a big deal for me. Another part of this build that I really liked the way it turned out was this entryway. And I looked at a lot of pictures on Pinterest. And by the way, huge fan of mid-century modern. I love it. You're about to see me do more mid-century modern houses, FYI, but more on that later. The entryway, a big thing you always see is like brick or rock. And so I was like, oh yeah, definitely I have to do that. I wish that we had the new expansion by then because I would have loved to have it like slightly raised, but sorry, I have an itch in my nose. But we don't have it yet, so I did my best. And I used a lot of bowling night stuff. That is actually something where like you put shoes in. But the only thing is like, I don't love the way it turned out. It looks kind of messy, but I'm like, I don't have all the time to perfect it. So I just kind of kept it there. And I mean, I figured it doesn't look bad. It's just, this didn't turn out, this like little bookshelf that I made didn't turn out exactly the way I hoped it would in my mind. But I feel like if I would have played with it a bit more, it would have probably turned out a bit better. You might see me add in this build a lot of island living stuff too. And that might feel a little out of place. But one thing that I noticed is a trend of houses in this time period, mid-century modern, was for some reason they were really into tropical stuff. I'm not sure why, but like you see a lot of like tropical stuff and sorry, it just made me think of like Elvis and his like old movies and stuff whenever he'd go like Hawaii, is that what it was? I'm not an expert, I could be completely wrong, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, so I tried using a lot of like islandy stuff to not too much, but enough where it was like more like features, because you know I was limited on clutter and anything that looked too away from this century that I was trying to go for. Also, another thing that I did was I used the clown painting. I figured, if not now, then when? I've been wanting to use that clown painting. Yes, the mirror looked better, but I used the clown painting. I might change it before I upload it to the gallery. Nope, I won't. I'm going to keep it. I keep telling myself I'm going to keep it. Okay, so this is the kitchen. This is what I want to talk about. The kitchen, I did not clutter it too much, and that was 100% intentional. I wanted it to feel small and cozy, but still like put together. And this particular kitchen, I saw this picture on Pinterest that looked similar to it. I didn't use exactly the same thing, but I wanted it to feel not realistic, but I didn't want to overdo this kitchen, and I'm really happy the way it turned out with those big windows. I was like, how am I going to put a kitchen in this space? It fit, and I like this little seating area that I put. It's not even a table your sim can actually sit at, but I did play test your sim can sit on that chair and enjoy a beverage, or even a plate of food, because God knows they like to just hold plates of food and sit on the like couch, and I'm like, you have a nice dining room table. But let's be honest, I sit and eat food on my couch every day. I don't even own a dining room table, so I have absolutely no room to talk. Maybe I am a sim, I don't know. Maybe we're all sims. Sorry, there's a train right now, so you're just gonna have to get used to that. But going into the bathroom, so I edited a lot after this part, so you'll only see me do this one bathroom. I mean, bathrooms aren't intense. I usually try to make my bathrooms really cute. This one I was like, you know what, let's put a green toilet. My great grandma's house was from I think it was built in the 1800s, but it was remodeled in like the 60s, and she's really elderly, my great grandmother, and she has not updated it since. And so when I was thinking about doing the toilet, I was like, let's put a green toilet, because she has a green toilet. She has wallpaper everywhere. And you know what she did do? She did renovate the living room and stuff, but the kitchen was always so wild, and I loved it. So here, I have not playtested this bench yet, but I really hope it does work. This bedroom, I spent so much time trying to figure out the color palette because it just was not working. But then I played with it, and I love the way this bedroom turned out. Another one of my favorite parts of the house. Something I'm trying to do more is play around with walls and what I can do with adding like texture and dimension to walls, because sometimes wallpaper just doesn't do it. And sometimes you feel like you've used all the combinations, all the wallpapers. It's like, what more can I do? So I use the this like flat wall design that's supposed to be for signs in Dine Out, and I put that on the back wall, and then I put the wood panels from Eco Lifestyle, and then I used My First Pet stuff, blinds, and I like the mixture of all that together. I tried keeping all brown because it's the 50s, 60s, 70s, I don't know, and they love brown. They do love brown. They love brown, they love colorful patterns and textures, and I'm living for it. Like I said, I'm going to be building a lot more mid-century modern houses lately. I actually have a whole, I don't want to get into it yet. I want it to be a surprise. You'll see. But here we're moving on to the nursery, and this is the saddest room in the house. When I am uploading it to the gallery, I made sure that all the lights in this room are off except for just one little light, just so you can see it. But I wanted it to be a room where she doesn't even go into. It's too painful for her. And when she does go into it, she, in like one of her like episodes, I put a little baby in the rocking chair, and I want her to pretend, like in my mind, she holds that baby and thinks it's hers. So that's what that is. This whole part took me so long to make. I don't know why. This nursery, I edited a lot out. It probably took me an hour. This whole build took me over 8 hours. And yes, I did take bathroom breaks. And but when I was, putting all my stuff into the video before speeding it up, it was like 8.5 hours, which for this size build usually would take me half that time. But because it was like a different time period, I was trying to make things as best I could. It took me about twice as long, especially with all the tool mod stuff that I did. I've been getting more comfortable with it lately, but it's still time consuming. And I edited out a lot of tool mod stuff because you guys don't want me, like, I don't think you want to see that unless you're like, I want to see more tool mod stuff. I promise you it's not as entertaining as it looks. And now we're here in the garage. And so as you can see in the nursery, I did put boxes because that's where they put some storage, but most of the storage is out here in the garage. I was inspired by my own garage growing up. We always had a lot of crap in it. We had tires, we always had boxes. I put some luggage out here and paint. We had paint in my garage. I put a basketball because basketball's been around for a really long time, so yeah. I put boxes, lots and lots of boxes. I just try to get comfortable with just, using some of the repeat items and stuff like that. Before I wrap this video up, I do want to say one more thing. On the exterior, I forgot to mention this. I love the way the bricks look in this build, leading up to the house along the driveway, because I tried making them look not perfect. I tried making it look like some of the bricks have just moved over time because of trees, or not trees, but like greenery has been growing. And so you'll see some of them like a little askew, little off to the side. And every single brick that I put off to the side, I did put like a weed there to make it look like the weeds were growing through, and that's what kind of pushed it. And to finish this build off, I used a lot of spider webs from Vampire. So if you were like, where'd you get those spider webs? The Vampires pack. But now I'm wrapping up this build. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you like it. It's super weird. It's not your traditional like haunted house, if you could even call it haunted. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a wonderful day. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up, maybe leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And if you really like it, you can subscribe. But I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.